I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. We talk to people in the school system, city government, county businesses, and we really have a great guest today, Dwight Powers, who's on the steering committee for the Blue Tip Parade. Dwight, can we start with how did we get started in 1973? What triggered that effort?
Well, what triggered it was, of course, we had Wadsworth Week in Wadsworth. At that period of time, it was run by the American Legion. And at that period of time, we had a very, very active JC group in Wadsworth, which I was a member of. And the American Legion wanted to bow out because they were losing membership and getting older, et cetera, et cetera. So we took it over and we ran with it. And of course, our theme at that period of time, and has carried through, is the Ohio Match. And that's why we call it the Blue Tip Festival. And of course, the parade, we designed that strictly as a draw for the festival itself, because actually the festival is where the money's made. We're lucky to break even on the parade. Although it is probably the most thought of event during the Blue Tip Week. It kicks off the festival. We turn the town upside down with it. As a matter of fact, on the way up here this afternoon, all the way from Isham School, all the way up to the driveway to the high school here, there's blankets out and chairs out. So people get very excited about the parade.
But Dwight, that they started partitioning off on Thursday.
Oh, I mean, it's crazy.
It was several days before the parade. Thank goodness the weather cooperated.
Right. So I don't know, if they wanted to pick up a lawn chair, all you got to do is drive down the street and get one.
What about the path? Was the parade, we talked in the early 70s it started, was the same route used back then?
Yes. We've always started at the high school and ended up at Isham. Of course, that's a route of about 2.5 miles. So if you're a participant, by the time you get to Isham, you know you've traveled somewhere.
Did other cities get involved originally in the parade and other festivities?
No, we kept it local as much as possible.
Right.
The only portion of it that I would say was outside the city of Wadsworth with the fire engines, where the Wadsworth Fire Department invited outside fire companies.
What was some of your early memories of the parade?
Well, early memories of the parade, and Bruce, I'll have to tell you, I've been involved in the Blue Tip Festival since the beginning, which we actually started in 1971. And I have never seen the parade because I've always been on the back side of it at the carnival grounds and with the food vendors and so forth. So as far as the organization of the parade, of course I followed that because, I mean, that was the hot topic of almost every one of our committee meetings.
How has the event expanded over the years? I'm sure there have been tweaks and the committees have talked and you've kind of revised things a bit.
Oh yeah. Actually, we've done a lot of different things. The most memorable thing was probably in about our 15th year. We had a what was called the American Toilet Toss, and of course the insurance companies put a kibosh to that because people were getting hurt, and but that was we had publicity on the toilet toss from New Zealand and Australia, but as far we've had train rides. This year is kind of exciting. We're going to have speeder rides. Well, a lot of people don't know what a speeder is, but it's a maintenance of way vehicle that the railroads use to get crews out on the main line to repair a switch or repair something. But we've got 12 of them coming Friday and Saturday, and we're going to give speeder rides. So that's I don't think anybody's ever done that.
No, that seems really unique.
Right. So, and of course every year we try to tweak the vendors, the food vendors particularly. Try to get maybe a new sandwich, try to get a new drink in, and we've been successful with that.
Is there any estimate early on what the size of the crowd was compared to maybe last year?
Well, that's really a hard thing to answer because we don't have a gate. You walk into the grounds, it's all free, entry's all free, parking's free. The parade, we estimate that we'll attract at least 10 to 12,000 people. The people that show up at the grounds, particularly on Tuesday nights, it'll swell to over 2,500 people.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. How many groups are affiliated and help out with the Blue Tip festivities? I'm sure over the years that has changed a great deal as well.
Oh, yes. Number one, the committee couldn't put the Blue Tip on without help from different organizations. The cooperation of our city is important, the City of Wadsworth, and of course our school system, because we're set up on their property. In that aspect, for example, the Rotary Club is very influential in helping us with the parade. We have a Boy Scout organization that parks cars for us and keeps our parking going. And just different organizations will help us out. And some of those organizations at the end of the year, we will financially support them then.
Why does Wadsworth take such pride and look forward to the parade and festivities each and every year?
Well, the parade, as I stated before, is the draw for the carnival and so forth.
Kind of sets a tone for the week, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Yeah. And I really think people look forward to it because almost all the participants in this parade are from the City of Wadsworth. And I think that's the draw for the parade is, I want to see my grandson or my son walk down the parade route.
I'm sure this is a good way to acclimate new residents to the parade and festivities, and Wadsworth is gradually growing about 2% a year, and certainly we've talked early on about all the development and houses being built. This is something that people could get a good education and find out a little bit more about Wadsworth, can't they?
Definitely. And I think it's a great way for newcomers to find out what Wadsworth is all about, because virtually almost every business in Wadsworth has some form of a item in the parade. And of course, if you go down to the festival grounds, all the rides are sponsored by different organizations in town. If you notice on our brochure, we have something like 25 contributing donors. Then they're listed on all our festival rides, and of course we also put it on all our literature.
Well, that's really important. Again, it's collaboration at its finest, isn't it? You really, and again, people know that this is coming every year, but of course we have new businesses too throughout the community, and they can get on board, and you certainly would welcome them.
Yeah, well, we have people within our committee that addresses that. We start planning for the next year's festival only about 3 to 4 weeks after the one has been completed. So our people will be contacting new businesses, looking for new sponsors, and it's not it's not a okay, we put it on today and you put it in the you shelve it, because that's not the case. We're continually working on the blue tip.
So 2 months ahead, you don't start planning then. You're way in advance, because you want to take a look. And I would imagine after a blue tip festival is over, you maybe sit down and say, what went well? What could we do a little better on? Or what, like you say, some rides you may have stopped or eliminated some. A food truck, we got some new things. People were asking about this sandwich, and you make some tweaks along the way.
Oh, you definitely do. And it's something that's constantly in motion.
What about the weather? Something you don't have much control of, but over the years, more often than not, we've been okay with the weather, but there have been times where Mother Nature didn't cooperate, right?
Oh, that's the fun part of it. Now, the carnival today is all on asphalt. So when it rains, we're not hurt too bad. But in the early days, we were on grass. And I remember numerous times where we would hire a bulldozer to pull the rides in. And I remember one year, one of the major rides that Bates brought in, I can't exactly remember how much it weighed, but it was 85,000 pounds plus. He tied a machine on the front of it and ran it down the center of the midway, and when both vehicles, the pull vehicle and the truck that was pulling the ride, they couldn't move any farther, that's where it was. That spent the whole week right there.
Right, no question about it.
Yeah.
Well, that was something that out of necessity, that's where it stayed, and people would enjoy it right there.
Right there.
What about estimates? What about how much money did the Blue Tip Festival create and generate last year? Do you recall?
Oh yes, in 22. Of course, our gross figure was close to $70,000. After we pay all the expenses, which there are, there's some pretty heavy expenses involved in this. We gave out to the community $36,000 to nonprofit organizations in Wadsworth, which there was 26 or 27 of them, ranging everywhere from like the Salvation Army received like $2,500, right down to Shop with a Cop, which got $500. And the grants that we give out, we ask the people in advance, well, how much would you need for this year's operation? How much, and we try, if they say, well, we need about $500 or we need $3,000, we try to give that to them.
I know at our church, Trinity Church, for several years we had a Thanksgiving dinner and meal for the sober houses, and it went over very, very well. But again, has COVID, that activity was kind of stunned a little bit by COVID. Has COVID affected other groups as well?
Sure, and it affected us because that year in 20, why we had to cancel the whole festival. Which made it interesting when we tried to put on 21, because we weren't sure the law would allow us to put the festival on until about 6 weeks prior to the opening. So we hustled around and got an amusement company to come in. And I mean, if we couldn't have got that amusement company to come in, we wouldn't have had a festival.
Right.
So.
How would various groups, if they're interested, maybe some new groups out there, how might they apply for a grant for their benefit of the people of Wadsworth?
Well, it's on our website.
Okay.
And this year's, it'll be on sometime in September. Mm-hmm. They have approximately 6 weeks to fill out the form, which it's a one-page form. It doesn't take long to do it. And then the committee gets together. We review the request, and if we can give them the money that they're asking for, we're more than happy to do so. And of course, this is restricted to Wadsworth organizations only. The money's generated from Wadsworth, it goes back to the people of Wadsworth. So that's our theory.
You mentioned that at the high school where it originates and at the end of the route is about 2.5 miles.
Yes.
How long in length is from the band? The Wadsworth High School band kicks it off usually.
Right.
And the last float, how long would that stretch?
Oh, it could stretch out over 3 or 4 miles. Matter of fact, the band, usually when they get to Isham and they're heading back for the high school, the end of the parade hasn't come down the streets yet. So, and of course, that's another kind of a logistics problem for us, because we want to keep the parade as people as close together, and we do not permit people to organizations to stop and shake hands with the crowd. They got to keep moving. They got to keep moving. They got to keep the parade tight. So.
Who else? I know you talked about the length that you plan on this. Who are some of the other people that have helped you and developed the ideas for the festival?
Okay, that's a real good question. I mean, I'm the oldest member. I'm from the original group that started this thing 51 years ago.
Right.
And for example, our electrician is Paul Weekly. He had a business in Wadsworth called Topa Electric. He's retired now, which is a joke. But he does all our electrical work and has done it for some 40-some years. Mike Levitt is our president, and of course he's from Water Main Grill. Tom Morris is a very influential person on our committee, and he's our law director. So we have a number of people within our committee that have ties to the city. So, it's nice to have those ties, because we might need a little help here and there.
Yeah, those connections really come in handy.
Certainly.
Something new comes up, or, again, Tom can check out the laws, and like you said, you didn't know if you had the green light in 21.
That's
so
correct.
all those things melt together. Why is Wadsworth such a special place? And again, why do they anticipate the Blue Tip Festival each and every year?
Well, it kicks off summer, for one thing. This year it kicks off on the 20th. I think summer officially begins on the calendar on the 21st, if I remember right. So, I mean, it's the kids are out of school, and it's time to party.
Right.
And this is one of the biggest parties that you could possibly think of.
So there's something for everyone at the Blue Tip
Everybody.
Festival. Everyone can enjoy the activities, and again, the weather. This, knock on wood, seems like it's going to be pretty good this week, and that'll be real cooperative. And again, the more people you have, and people come from a lot of other communities. It's just not Wadsworth, right?
Well, my kids are coming from Syracuse, New York.
Wow, fantastic!
So it's exciting. I think the whole atmosphere is exciting. You walk through the grounds and people are, it's like a big family reunion, and it's really amazing. It's a lot of fun.
And the other communities with the fire trucks, and they have the blaring. If you have any ear issues, look out, because they really turn those horns up, and that's a really exciting part. I always enjoyed seeing all the fire trucks from the other communities.
Yes, I do too. And it's fun to see different groups and different businesses and how they present themselves. The Mosaic Church in Wadsworth, they put on our Wednesday matinee for the kids this year. Their theme is Disney, the princesses and so forth. And of course, they're in the parade. They have a big float. It's just all exciting.
Right.
All exciting.
Dwight, at the end of our show, we have about a 6-minute video that you helped do about the 50th and all the activities surrounding and a lot of the history of it. So we'll sign off now, but please watch the rest of the show. It's about a 6-minute video of the Blue Tip Festival. And Dwight, thank you for all you've done over the years, and thank the committee for all their hard work.
I will certainly do that, Bruce.
And thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we will see you again next week.
Blue Tip generally gives back to the community something like $35,000 a year to over 20 nonprofit Wadsworth organizations, and that is why I do it.
And there's our match.
The match is in view. The match is in view. That's right.
And it's
there it is.
Okay. And we had the official start of the 1985 Blue Tip Parade. And there goes Jenny lighting the match, which starts 1986 Blue Tip.
There
it goes.
All right.
Okay, there goes the match for 1989.
All right, there we are.
There he likes it.
Our 1990 Blue Tip match.
There he is. There's the
Okay,
match.
there it
Oh,
is.
good. Everyone's applauding.
Now, as you know, the match will continue to burn for the rest of the week.
For the
throughout
entire week.
festival.
That's right. Yes.
From downtown Wadsworth, Ohio, it's the annual Blue Tip Festival Parade.
And there he goes. He's going up with the match. There he goes, blast off.
Nicely done.
Of course, Blue Tip matches were such a fundamental part of the economy of Wadsworth for so many years.
Tonight the festival is down at Memorial Park. Free admission, free parking.
Wadsworth still has kept the Blue Tip name and has kept the Blue Tip Parade these many years.
And retains the match name and the use, of course, of the giant match that we see now being lit.
There it is.
That's comparable to the ball dropping at New Year's, don't you think, in Wadsworth? I
Well,
think it's
in Wadsworth, it's number one.
Yes,
There's no
it's
question.
very exciting.
Absolutely. And the legacy continues on, so it's a wonderful thing.
The first year was the roughest. That's because we were probably not as organized as we could have been. And over the 50 years, there's been many memories. There's been many times that we've fought the elements to get the parade in, to get the rides into the grounds. I remember one year we had to pull things in with the bulldozer just to make sure that we opened on Tuesday night.
Father's Day week, every year.
I got involved 47 years ago. They have to have an electrician in order to pull this off, and it just seems like the thing to do on the third week in June. I say I need, and I filled it.
The money that's generated from the Blue Tip goes back into the community. Everything we make gets donated back to the people of Wadsworth.
Help out a lot of people that aren't very fortunate.
As a kid in Wadsworth, the Blue Tip was where I met my friends and made memories, and it was a big part of my life.
All my favorite memories from Blue Tip was when I was in the marching band starting in 1983 and marching in the parade.
My first time at Blue Tip, I was less than a week old, and it's kind of been a family tradition of ours ever since.
Days before, we're starting to set up throughout the community. You see the movement going on, and everybody, I believe, makes a great attempt to make a point to be down at the festival every year.
Need two cameras. Yeah.
Look at all the chairs and the towels and the blankets. Started going out on the Devil Strip probably Thursday night. Everybody's getting ready.
And the fact that people are a week in advance of Blue Tip putting chairs out, roping off areas, that just goes to show you what the draw is. At one time, we were the second largest parade in the state of Ohio. The parade is the opening of the Blue Tip. It's the draw factor.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. Everybody can have fun, whether you're a week old or 100 years old. You can come down to the Blue Tip Festival. You can go to the parade. You're gonna have a good time. You can get food, ride the rides, play the games. No matter who you are, you'll have a good time.
I owe Wadsworth everything. I owe Wadsworth my education. I met my wife at Wadsworth. My career, I work for the city of Wadsworth. I owe Wadsworth everything. Why do I do it? Because it's that important, and I get that much out of it.
It's an important function that we perform.
And not to mention being able to have the best party in Wadsworth every year.
Hi, Danny. You having fun? Uh-huh. What's your favorite ride? The horses.
Go Grizzlies!
Go Grizzlies! Woo!
And I believe that is the end of the parade. Joanne, as the Wadsworth Police Cruiser comes by and the crowd disperses.
And we'll see you from the same spot next year.
Yes, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Beautiful horses.
They are always the end of our Wadsworth Blue Tip Parade, so I think that brings us to the end.
But they put a lot of work into this parade.
They do.
They do, and it's well organized, and it's an honor to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.